What's up, everybody? 98 here, and I'm very excited today.
What's going on, my pet shoppers and video gamers? It's Wolf's Nintendo Shop here, bundled up for the cold of winter.
What's up, everybody? It's I, Ken Snake.
Hello, everyone. This is WinRS28. So glad to be back.
What's going on, guys? It's James the Con Man, and I'm trapped under ice.
Guys, we have two special guests with us, so please introduce yourselves.
Hello everyone, I'm Oblivion317 from Randomly Corny Studios, and I'm happy to be here today.
And I'm Record Channel from It's a Wee One.
Alright, guys, so as we said, this is the very first episode of the return of Season 3 called Winter Wonder. And so without further ado, let's go right into the plot. So the plot here is that when the Biscuit Twins need to learn the spirit of giving, they invite Blight to their chateau. And the subplot is that when a new guest pet, Parker the Penguin, comes to the pet shop as a guest pet, feeling homesick, the pets try everything they can to make him feel like he's back at the South Pole. So, let's get right into the positives.
Wait, Sunil, do you want to talk about the penguin?
Actually, honest, that was actually my first positive.
Okay, then.
Frozen
Alright,
never
guys,
gets old.
so, as you can tell, my first positive would have to be Parker. Let me just say, he's probably the most adorable guest pet as a guest pet on the show so far in the series.
Mine would have to go to Buttercream.
Yeah, buttercream.
I like sugar sprinkles.
Alright, well, a little bit of background on Parker is that obviously he's from the South Pole and he is played by Tabitha St. Germain. And I can say the fact that he is adorable, and Tabitha St. Germain did a very good job. The animation was great. His voice was great.
Let me guess, Sunil. You would love him and hug him and squeeze him and call him George.
I think all of us would.
I'd also
Yes.
like to talk about Parker. His personality is meant to be really sweet and kind, and I think it really shows in his personality. The moral at the end of the episode that he has is really heartwarming and really true to the core of the series. Home shouldn't be limited to one designated place. Although you feel very comfortable and at peace with your physical home, having a second family like your friends as a home is a good idea so you could be happy with everyone.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
As they say, home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
Now, there was one thing about Parker that someone on, I think it was the Pet Shop group on Facebook, it might have been Clay that actually pointed this out, I don't know, but
Yeah.
Parker might be a lot of that one penguin from the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, where he too was homesick. Bugs is trying to get him home.
I think that was supposed to be like that, yeah. I mean, you know the penguin with the top hat bow tie, and also near the end, Bugs was wearing the same, which is mimicking it just to...
Yeah, the only main difference is that penguin didn't talk while Parker could, so...
Yeah.
Something else I want to go over as Oblivion you brought up in your first review of the show is, how the heck does a shop called Littlest Pet Shop afford these animals? I mean, now we have a penguin. These owners must be rich or something to afford these type of animals.
I don't know, I mean, you know how the exotic pet trade is in big cities like New York, those kinds of places? It wouldn't really surprise me if, like, they got one of the... You didn't necessarily have to be in, like, the upper class, but you would have to be very well connected to someone in that trade to get that kind of animal, so... I'm surprised that it's that serious in downtown city, to be honest.
Well, in some countries, it's actually illegal to have certain animals in there. I know in California, after I watched an episode of Littlest Pet Shop, I wanted to see if I can actually get a pet hedgehog, and apparently they're not legal in California because they're not native to this country.
For Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
know that I think that the pets like Penny Ling are not owned by humans; they're actually owned by the zoo. They might be transferred animals.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
I don't know, I mean, Mrs. Twombly stated that the penguin was, like, her sister sent her the penguin, so...
Maybe it was for him to get out, to see the world.
Possibly, yeah.
Another positive I'd like to talk about is Blythe's scene at the end when she sends a selfie of her and the pets to the Biscuit Twins. What I want to say about the selfie is that she wanted to teach the Biscuit Twins what the holiday season is really all about instead of receiving hundreds of gifts. The selfie implies that holidays should only matter if you're having fun spending time with your friends and family, not getting the gifts. Like, they don't matter as much as long as you're making it memorable for yourself in the long run.
I'm actually just curious as to how she got the number of the Biscuit Twins. And if I had that, I would delete it from my phone automatically.
I think Whitney and I think it was like I think one of the twins actually asked that question once they got the text.
Yeah.
The reason why they got it was from Food for Thought when I think it was Brittany that was hanging out with them.
Yeah, it was Brittany.
Yeah, she got their number.
Yes.
I would change my number then.
Decided to show up. Hello, Cece.
Oh, hey.
Gentlemen, this is the last time I'm ever going to the South Pole the day before a review. Penguins were keeping me up there. I almost missed my plane here, but
I would recommend going to the North Pole then.
Good gods, Cece. Do you need a blanket or something to warm you up?
Oh, it's cold down there, man. But I'm sure I'll be warming up to this review.
Okay, one positive I would like to bring up personally is, like, you know how in the opening we got to see all three of the Biscuits sort of interact off each other?
Yeah.
I think that was a really interesting look into just how it really set up, it illustrates just how different each of them are. You see Fisher just sort of laying down the law on them. And
laying down the smack.
Yeah. And making him feel less like an antagonist, more like a business rival, as you've said, Redcord. And it really illustrates how Whitney's sort of the smarter, she has a clear head on her shoulders, while Whitney just sort of does whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think that was a pretty interesting scene, personally.
Yeah, man, to that. I mean, you brought up Fisher. Like, this is actually one of the things I really liked about how Fisher. It just shows that Fisher's not really like a huge antagonist, but just, but just he does like he's very like he's very keen on just watching over his daughters to make sure they're up in their best behavior to like do something like nice this holiday season, like to learn about giving.
If we're going into positives, I like to give the whole plot twist with the Francois.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my!
that went M. Night Shyamalan plot twist, but done right.
I know.
With a twist.
Am I really that predictable?
Yes.
But no, I am just curious as to where the heck do you get a mask like that? How do people get masks that look like someone else? And that is just creepy.
I don't know. I mean, like, when you look at prosthetic makeup, the kind of makeup that you would use for that kind of trick, it's expensive, yeah, but if you go to a very high-profile makeup artist studio, it wouldn't be that hard to recreate, especially if you have... Like, my guess is Francois was in on it the whole time, because how else could you get such a, like, perfect replica of his face otherwise?
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same
Is there
time.
if I add something in there?
Hey, I did that.
Yeah.
Okay, but now, I mean, I'm not sure if this explains what happens in Two Pets for Two Pets.
It did,
because this thing, I mean, yeah, I know that, but why were they so shocked at that to see him back? It's like, didn't you see him back earlier?
Well,
even in Hamster Hoods, we saw him.
Yeah, well, I think this is actually a different time.
Yeah, it could have been aired in a different production order.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah.
Because production order and broadcast order, it can be different at times.
Yeah, because the thing is that, Julia in her tweet said that don't blame on Tom Minton for that continuity error there. It was just the hub before Discovery, like, family, like, sort of way of just broadcasting them out of order, I guess. So, and this episode actually does clear up how Francois got his job back.
Mm-hmm.
If I could go back to Fisher, I'd like to talk about him. Just by the opening sequence, you could tell he's an amazing character. Like, you can tell he's not so swayed so easily by his fortune and wealthiness, and he still wants his daughter to be upstanding citizens. When he said he only got 1 or 2 presents as a child, you could tell he was born into a non-wealthy family, and he raised all his fortune by himself through hard work and dedication. He doesn't act spoiled or bratty like his daughters, and I believe this is how all fathers should act. That's what makes him objectively the best character in the show.
Yeah.
Hey, you should see the business guy, Kevin O'Leary.
Best character in the show? Well, that's kind of debatable now.
Yeah.
Well, I think
at least he's voiced by a good voice actor.
Oh, yeah, Sam Vincent knocks it out of the park.
I've got the last positive here. The whole freezing the pet shop thing. Because Because I've got one thing to say about freezing the pet shop.
I was chosen today
Indeed.
Well,
The main six pets were frozen.
it was gonna happen.
I can say that.
Yeah.
I did like the whole freezing the pet shop. I understand the pets are really cold. That was still really nice of them to do for Parker. I also like how they froze the entire floor. Because it did
yeah.
with the episode of Tom and Jerry where they decided to freeze the entire kitchen floor to make it into an ice rink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get
Or
that. Yeah.
that one episode of SpongeBob, Plankton screws with the thermostat, and then decides to use it as a marketing gimmick.
The only
Yeah.
nitpick I can have with this is I really wanted to see all the pets ice skating. Who wouldn't want to see Penny Ling ice skating?
Yeah.
Me.
Besides them in the chain.
But now I'm curious as to how come Vinny wasn't frozen. I mean, he's a cold-blooded animal, so it's like he should be frozen.
You could clearly see that it affected him. Like, you saw how his tail fell off.
Just fell
Yeah.
off.
And the rest of him was covered at the time, so I'm guessing he was trying to keep as little of his body exposed as possible.
So
Well,
how about we go on to negatives now?
Okay.
Well, you know,
Alright.
The negatives, the opposite of positives.
that actually speaking of cold, this actually reminds me of my first negative. Now, depending on what side you want to take on this, I never put the pets on the negatives. But this one time, I only have one pet. And that one pet is Pepper. Because the entire time, she was trying to be funny, and it just kept making the situation for Parker worse. And they had to go through all these different ways to make him feel better. And every single time they did, she'd make another joke and make him feel worse.
I don't think that was intentional on her part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It was well intentioned and everything. She's just, I think this goes true for all the other pets. Like, this is a completely new situation for them. They have no idea how to approach it. And
Yeah.
Pepper being Pepper, she just went into what she does best, hoping she might be able to tweak it enough to work to their advantage.
Yeah,
And
I
it
mean,
just
she's just
backfired.
sticking to her comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, and her comfort zone is, comedy, so.
I guess it may be sort of similar to the
And
Yeah,
the
way.
and
first
if you
scenes in it.
Yeah, I guess it's similar like the way like she might have done it with Dolores in the Very Littlest Pet Shop. She did the same thing just to make her laugh or something. So, but that's also one of my negatives. For this part, but yeah.
While the jokes were not funny in this episode, and I just felt that she was making it worse for the Penguin as he was feeling more down on his luck. At the same time, it's like, at least she didn't go as far as in the episode The Very Littlest Pet Shop.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, the jokes were bad, but at least they were not too bad.
yeah.
It's
But
like,
she is
well,
starting
at
to
least,
she just wants to cheer people up. That's all she wants to do.
Yeah, she is starting to show some restraint now. Like, especially after
Penny
what
for
was
Your
it?
Laugh.
Yeah, that one.
That was worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can tell by the end of the episode, you could tell Parker was really having fun with Pepper's jokes because he was giving a joke on his own.
Oh yeah, and for those who said as a negative, they wanted to see Penny Ling skate, well, at least they were skating at the end for a short
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, during the chain.
Yeah, see, we got what we wanted.
Oh yeah.
But just
Yeah.
not what we...
Yeah, I think I said that earlier. Yeah.
like,
Them holding
we
hands
got
and stuff.
something, but not what we wanted.
A negative I like to end there is the biscuits. Well, particularly though they're not that bad here, honestly. Like they're mean girls still. Not really learning anything on giving in the end. So, well, regardless of the fact that they had to go through this parallel ski slope near the end after seeing Fisher out of disguise, because apparently it's like they're still not gonna learn anyway. Even by the end, when they just got their text from their selfie, and it's like, who got their numbers? And they just we'll just stick to that.
Yeah, I'd also like to talk about the biscuit. They were really self-centered in this episode, and they were too self-centered to even realize it. Just because you're rich and loaded, it doesn't give you an obligation to get hundreds and hundreds of gifts for Christmas. They also pretended to be nice to Blythe in order to receive all of those gifts because she was a charity case. And although they were such amazing gestures to Blythe and Zoe, they were only doing it for the result, so they didn't mean anything by it.
This isn't really the first time we've seen them do this. Like in
Oh,
Miss
yeah.
Pet Craze, where they sort of became Blythe's sort of managers
Yeah.
just for all the free stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like,
The swag.
I am going to say this right here, right now. I am that person who really only just needs one gift.
Yeah, one gift is good,
Yeah.
especially if
Yeah,
it's
same.
like the best gift.
Yeah,
the
one's better
gift
than
of
none.
real friendship. Yeah.
That's all I really
Gift
ask
of
for is
world
friendship.
business.
Yeah.
I really don't care that much for gifts because I usually want to just buy stuff myself. I
Yeah.
usually don't rely on others to
Yeah.
get me stuff.
Bingo.
Besides, those girls have money. They can obviously buy their own gifts. Really? You want Daddy to keep buying all your gifts?
Oh, so you're
Daddy,
doing
At the same time, it's like
Yeah.
you guys ask your dad for almost everything every other day. What makes this any different?
Yeah, I mean, you're loaded. Buy whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, same way you can get 259 of them.
But at the same time, I'm guessing he does give them a limit, as in they can only spend 10,000 or somewhat dollars a month or so like that.
Wasn't a
Oh yeah.
Yeah, only 10,000.
Well, hey, you've seen in other shows where they were buying stuff, like when they were friends with Blythe for a while, and they were buying her stuff, and they had a song, as well as when the dad was working for the Biscuits, and they were shopping while they sang that good song.
Dude,
So
I could buy multiple Apple laptops with that kind of money.
yeah, and with the Biscuits, with their money, they could buy a share of Apple.
I have one nitpick for me. Well, the B plot felt a bit rushed near the end when Parker said like he's not homesick anymore. It's just even though we've seen him being homesick more, and with Pepper like doing all these jokes, and by the end, and when Mrs. T like turned off the thermostat or just changed the warm, Parker just says, "Oh, I'm actually not homesick anymore." I thought it came out of nowhere. I don't know, but it didn't hinder much. But
Yeah, it felt a little rushed.
yeah.
It did feel a little rushed.
Yeah.
Still.
Could have been done a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have like a 22-minute time limit. I don't think like they can go into as much. Like, they don't really have as much time to develop everything like they would want, so it's just something we have to sort of take with a grain of salt, I think.
This was a good episode to lead into the second part of this season. I would say it's not over the top. It's not anything overwhelming as a holiday or snow day special, but it's in there. It's one of the good episodes that I'm happy for, and not to mention Meriwether Williams has proven to improve her writing in the past.
Indeed.
Yeah, Dave Polsky as well for MRP.
So, what's your final score, Red Core, on this episode?
Overall, I would just give it a 9 because I didn't have any issue with it, and everything else I did give a negative for was just little nitpicks here and there, but I am leaving it open to change over time, as in I might give it an 8 later, or might give it a 10, so I'm just leaving it open for now, but a 9 is my best choice.
Yeah, that's sort of where I am right now as well. Like, I usually go on a letter grade scale on my show, so for me it would be somewhere between a B plus and an A minus, leaning more towards the B plus just for flexibility purposes.
And how would
So that would
rank on a
be
10
like the
point
equivalent
scale?
of like 8 out of 10, I guess.
A B plus is like an 89 or an 88, and that rounds to a 9 out of 10. So
Okay.
And then for me, overall, this was a great way to bring the season back, and it feels really appropriate how it comes back in. That it's a winter episode. We have more winter episodes coming up, and it just feels right because now that we're starting to get into winter, it just makes the spirit feel alive. So I love Parker. I love everything about this episode, except for the Biscuits, because Biscuits kind of got on my nerves a little bit. Pepper, she was okay for the most part. So overall, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10.
I'm going to agree with Sunil on his point. This was a really great start to the second half of the season after a 4-month hiatus, and there was nothing really majorly bad in this episode. I liked it a lot, so I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Now, as for me, I'm satisfied with this since Fisher is a real highlight into trying to teach Twin on giving and as well as seeing the funny moments on the Pets and Parker. But yeah, the twins still remain their mean spirited self as expected. But I did enjoy this episode. I liked how it actually came back for this time being. So my final score is 8.5 out of 10.
For this being the return episode for Season 3, conveniently around the holiday time, a winter episode does feel very appropriate, and I think given the characters in this episode, again, it's very appropriate. I mean, the Biscuits, Rich, Christmas time presents, it was, kind of a given. And them just to do the whole cliche, okay, if you do not do the charity case, well, you're not getting any gifts from Daddy. So I kind of knew that all this was going to happen and someone was going to find out. It was all just one big plan just to get gifts. But hey, it's the Biscuits. You can't really expect anything less from them. But It was still good. For the B plot with the pets, it was entertaining. Parker was good, even if he is just a one-off camper. Yeah, it was pretty rushed. It could have been a little bit better, but maybe that's just me. So for this, I guess one of 2 holiday specials that we have this season, I think it's 2.
Yep.
I'm going to give this an 8.4.
As for me, I guess I will say this, that maybe it's the fact that I'm still riding a high over this being the first new episode we got in a while, but I thought it was great. You know, the whole charity case thing, like the whole, oh, we're only doing this just because if we don't do this, then we don't get any gift. That was kind of a given. You know, it's perfectly in character for the Biscuits, so, you know, I can't really fault them for that. Honestly, for a final score, I thought this was great. You know, I'll definitely rewatch it again sometime later this Christmas. Probably, I'll agree with 2-0, 9 out of 10.
Alright, guys, next week is Snowstorming, the one we've been waiting for since June. Alright, guys, so this is Sunil Nation on the gate.
Let's finish up.
I Can Snake.
Wingnars 28.
CC Trainerling.
James the Con Man!
Oblivion 317.
And Record.
And this is the League of Pet Drivers signing off. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.
Peace out, home slices.
Take care, everybody.
Chase away the winter blues.
And stay classy.
Thank you all for watching.
We'll see you all next time.
Meanwhile, at a cozy chateau in the mountains.
Hello everybody, this is Downloads Bacon here. Right now I'm here at the Biscuit Chateau. Fisher Biscuit did feel kind of bad for what he kind of did earlier. And since it's the holidays, why not, try to make amends for what happened. Right now I'm here enjoying some space pizza. I haven't even tried the Olympic size hot tub, but it's kind of weird when I'm the only person here. Why not? They got a big TV. It's crazy, all the stuff they have. You don't want to hear me talk about how amazing this place is, but it's time now for my final thoughts. So this is a great episode to start the return of Season 3. We have waited 4 months for this, and wow, it paid off. This episode is really, really good. It's a really good holiday episode that I'll be watching every year. I'm saying this now, I am not going to put the Biscuits as a negative, because they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They are the bad guys. They are supposed to get heat. Heat is when you just get negative response. You do something negative, you get a negative response from the audience. They are supposed to be doing that. They're doing it very well. Now, I did love Fisher Biscuit in this episode also. He has said my new favorite quote of the entire show. Fisher Biscuit is a really cool guy, as long as you don't mess with his business or his money. I really did enjoy the A plot in this episode. I love everything about it. I have nothing wrong with it. I love the fact that Zoe was there with Blythe, trying to see if the Biscuits really did change. Turns out they didn't. It was a really great episode. Francois too, the quickening was great. Now we go to the B plot. The B plot was okay. It wasn't the greatest B plot, but it still had a nice message, and Parker, I will admit, is very adorable. And I loved Pepper's jokes, and I found that Pepper was not being insulting to Parker. She noticed that he was depressed and sad, and she knows that jokes and comedy can bring someone up. So she tried that. It wasn't necessarily working, so they had to try to see if they can make him not homesick. And it's not often that we get a penguin pet. And I didn't feel that the lesson at the end did not feel rushed. If you pay attention to Parker in the background while Mrs. Twombly's talking, he does seem to realize it after he takes a bump on the floor. I have no real strong negatives here. Nothing that I can really bash and harp. So I'm going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. Yes, you heard right, people. 10 out of 10. This was a very nice episode. The lessons were nice and they fit the holiday season. So I have nothing against it. I think it was great, plain and simple. Love it. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go and I'm going to sleep a little bit more on that cloudy bed. Oh, it feels so good. So thanks, and thanks again.